Even Napoleon's washstand was like the man himself, larger than life, extraordinary. The rich wood is yew, supporting swans and fish in gilt bronze, standing on lion's feet, holding an ornate pitcher of silver and a bowl of silver edged in gilt bronze. Even the emperor's golden bee emblems are here. Inspired by antiquity and made by Napoleon's official goldsmith, this washstand would be in his bedroom at the Tuileries Palace from the time he was first consul to the end of the empire. It would follow him to the ultimate end on St. Helena. These are personalized boxes, complete with the monograms of their royal owners, a popular gift item of the time and a favorite of the emperor's. He would have ornate boxes, such as this one of gold, with his portrait set about with diamonds, made up well in advance to honor or thank someone. Then he would arrange to meet them, and as if by chance, seemed to present his own box as a gift. The 114 objects in this kit, the gold necessaire fit for an emperor, include a complete table service, toilet articles, and practical instruments. The largest and most elaborate of all the kits made for him, this was his favorite, and went with him everywhere, even in battle, from the time it was made during the consulate in 1802 until he died on St. Helena, as we shall see in the next gallery. Here, the bright light burns out, the empire goes dark, and the emperor bids farewell. Here, in a scene from the spring of 1814, Napoleon bids his first farewell to his generals at Fontainebleau. Having abdicated in favor of Louis XVIII and prepared seemingly for exile on the island of Elba. Less than a year later, he would escape Elba and return at the head of a new army. An army that would eventually meet coalition forces under the command of England's Duke of Wellington and Prussia's Field Marshal Prince von Blücher. Here, at the Battle of Waterloo, where Napoleon would pit his 124,000 men against Wellington's 95,000 and Blücher's 124,000. After success against Blücher on June 16, the end would come for the empire on June 18, 1815. Napoleon would be crushed. It was over. And here, standing in solitary testimony to that fact, is the breastplate of a French soldier from that field of battle. Holes both front and back from the cannonball that ended his life. The victor, the Duke of Wellington, is shown here in a portrait attributed to Spanish master Francisco Goya, showing Wellington in the costume of a Spanish nobleman. It is said this was originally a portrait of Joseph, Napoleon's brother, when he was King of Spain. After Waterloo, Goya painted out the face of the hated Joseph and replaced him with Wellington. This portrait by Sir Thomas Lawrence shows Wellington in English uniform, the very same portrait that appears on the British £5 note today. 4 days after Waterloo, Napoleon would sign his second abdication, reject escape to the United States, and surrender to the English. They would send him here, to their island of St. Helena in the middle of the Atlantic, 800 miles from anywhere. Shown on this fragile paper map with barely discernible handwritten notes of Napoleon. He would live here at Longwood, a former summer home on St. Helena, expanded to accommodate the former emperor. About 30 people would live in these buildings around a small garden. Again, ironically, Longwood equals the Tuileries Palace as the residence Napoleon lived in longest. He would have visitors, such as Madame de Montholon, who would bring him this lovely bronze gilt clock he would keep in his bedroom. But the long, hard journey by sea and his fall from glory made them few and far between. As this painting shows, Napoleon would spend his last years dictating his memoirs from the sitting room at Longwood, accompanied by his loyal aide-de-camp, General Gaspard Gourgaud. Gourgaud, along with General Lacasse and others, would give us a memorable picture of the life of the world's most famous exile. Look carefully now in the background of this painting. There on the left is the Emperor's favorite nécessaire, the gold one we saw in the last gallery. In this same room, Napoleon would die from stomach cancer on May 5th, 1821, just short of his 52nd birthday, giving up what Chateaubriand called the most powerful breath of life has ever animated human clay. His likeness in this painting by Carl August von Steuben is believed to have been done from this, his actual death mask. After his death, only after Louis-Philippe came to power in 1830 could Napoleon and Napoleonic scenes be again represented. When this was painted by von Steuben in 1826, it was simply called Story of a Hat. Quite a story, illustrating the rise and fall of Napoleon in 8 hats, the towers of Notre Dame behind one, the flames of Moscow behind another, and finally, the island of St. Helena behind the last. This statue is probably the most familiar pose of the Emperor, a life-size reduction of the monumental work by Charles-Marie-Émile Seurat that stands atop the Vendôme column. Here seen in a 1/24th scale model. The original name of the monument was the Austerlitz column, and a statue of Napoleon as Roman Emperor was originally on top, cast from melted bronze cannons captured from the Austrians. That statue was removed and melted down by the restored Bourbon monarchy. This statue was placed atop the column by Louis-Philippe in 1833. Here he stands, the Emperor in the famous black hat and the simple grey greatcoat that we've seen in this exhibition, the way the world remembers him best. His love story with Josephine would last but 14 years, but prove so unforgettable, few remember his mistress, his second empress, even his son. His empire would last barely a decade, but the speed with which he achieved it and the scope of it at its height have made him immortal. Napoleon Bonaparte, a man of irony, a man who shaped his own destiny and ours.